Hey guys, I'm Geoff Fienberg back with you for OddsChecker.com/US. This time breaking down Week 8 of the National Football League, giving you my DFS selections. Week 8, we're essentially at the midway point in the NFL. It's great that we got here. Let's keep on keeping on, I guess, as we all just want the NFL to make this happen. Week 8, fantasy football suggestions for OddsChecker.com. Like, sub, comment. Tell me which one of my suggestions you're going to fade and replace it with. How's that for an idea? Quarterback. Maybe a guy you never heard of. Patrick Mahomes, $8,100. Kind of feels silly doing a video telling you something about Mahomes. Nothing I could tell you you don't already know. He's good. Pizza's good. $8,100 at DraftKings, $92 at FanDuel. He's going to be super hard to make a lineup with, but I'm going to find ways to do it. Being the highest priced quarterback on the slate, he couldn't be in a better spot. The Chiefs have a team total of flirting with nearly 34 points, and he's going up against the Jets, who struggle against everybody, struggle against the pass, struggle against the run. They're 28th in DVOA against the pass, 14th against the run. So while there's a considerable difference there, I believe the Chiefs will certainly take advantage of that. Mahomes also the highest projected point total this week for me, and while we've been waiting for the Mahomes explosion game for some time. As I've said a few times in some NFL content I have done on a weekly basis, sometimes it feels like that blowout win of the Ravens on Monday Night Football in what I believe Week 3 was arguably, I don't want to say the worst thing to happen to the Chiefs, but it sort of set the tone for really how good they are, and nobody can sniff them, especially in the AFC. So you do worry that this game could be over by halftime, but I think this is one of those rocket ship Mahomes stat line games. No one should be surprised. They are playing the Jets. The Mahomes regression of stats that we've seen in maybe some of the past couple games, I think he upticks all of that back this week. And for a guy like Mahomes playing a team like the Jets, I'd argue his ownership will probably be lower than it definitely should be. Cheaper option at quarterback, Derek Carr, $5,500 on DK, $7,300 on FanDuel. The Browns have given up the 7th most points to quarterbacks this year, and this game looks like it's going to be an absolute shootout. Landing on Carr was actually an easy thing for me to do, seeing the total of 53 points, how bad that Browns defense seemingly lets teams go up and down against them, despite the incredible effort by Baker last week, which would be conducive to a shootout here, to be perfectly honest. Paying down here for Carr allows you to do a lot of other things, especially at running back, because there are some great options this week. And we are going to go to the well and pay the piper for Derrick Henry. $8,000 on DK, $9,500 on FanDuel. He continues to get as much volume as any player in football. He had another 20-carry game against the Steelers in Week 7. I project him to get the most fantasy points in the week of any player. This price, this volume, the projection, you got to find a way to start Derrick Henry. There's almost nobody like him in the National Football League, to be perfectly honest. Ezekiel Elliott ranks in like the 40s in running backs this year. Cook, coming off an injury, probably going to have a big game, but we'll see how healthy he is potentially. And I expect Cook to get his workload, but still, Derrick Henry in a class of him, in and of himself, against a Bengals team that injuries everywhere, especially in the trenches. This is a team Mike Vrabel will bully. He will bully, and that involves Henry, more Henry. Yeah, I don't doubt that one bit. It's going to really complement the offensive coordinator, but his name slips me. His dad owns FedEx, like the president. Arthur Smith, I want to say. He should be a head coach next year. For all the love of the enemy in Kansas City, the play calling sequences in Tennessee are just marvelous. They're marvelous. Kareem Hunt, $6,900 in DraftKings, $8,200 in FanDuel. Hunt seems to be healthy again, and he got 91% of the snap share last week against the Bengals, and had 21 touches in those snaps. And the kind of volume, it's the type of volume in this week's matchup against the Raiders that kind of make it a smash play. The Browns have the second most adjusted line yards in the NFL and are facing the Raiders, as I mentioned, who have given up the fourth most. You could argue because of his spot, it's actually underpriced for Kareem Hunt this week at $6,900. There's no Odell Beckham Jr. now because of his injury, so I expect more receptions funneled in his direction. Credit to Baker. We just saw him spreading that ball around. Nonetheless, everything Hunt even talking about how dominant and great Hunt was last week makes me love Henry even more in his matchup this week against the Bengals. So Hunt and Henry, those are the running backs I'll be definitely allocating the most ownership to this week. Wide receiver, Keenan Allen, $6,200 on DK, $7,400 on FanDuel. Once again, Keenan Allen is just too cheap, guys. When healthy, he hasn't had less than 11 targets. Justin Herbert trusts Allen. He's one of the absolute best route runners in the league, and I expect them to lean on Allen heavily in this game. Denver's in the middle of the pack against wide receivers. They don't play many that run a route like Keenan Allen, though. Their defense hasn't been terrible. They beat the Patriots quite handily, seemed, and the Chiefs got a defensive touchdown in some real bad spots that Drew Lock put them in. So the defense hasn't been terrible, but Keenan Allen is still going to eat. Herbert's playing just too well, and I'll tell you this on a little bit of Chargers radio, guys. Keenan Allen hates the Broncos. He hates them. We're the Chargers. We're everyone's little brother. No one considers us a rival, even the teams we are rivals with. I say that as a Charger fan. The Chiefs are just such in a great place, and even when there is a bit of bad blood, it's never really like other situations. But I would say of all teams, the Chargers and Broncos get along the absolute least, and that has nothing to do with the Melvin Gordon situation, which I could do a whole show on, but that's them breaks. I guess you could argue I kind of did more than once this week. Continuing in wide receiver, rookie wide receiver for the 49ers, Brandon Ayuk, $5,800 on DraftKings, $5,900 on FanDuel. The Seahawks defense continues to be absolutely atrocious, so we'll continue to pick on them for it. Ayuk coming off a 7-target, 115-yard game. He's looked absolutely explosive in his return from injury, and we saw those explosive plays before the injury. Now Deebo Samuel is on IR, opening more opportunities for Ayuk. He's going to get the lion's share of the targets on the outside, and the Seahawks defense is atrocious. They'll attack their secondary. Kyle Shanahan is a whiteboard wizard who will find optimal ways to not only attack the 49er defense, but get the ball in the hands of his big playmaker, rookie playmaker in Ayuk. If you even wanted to get super sneaky, which I don't even think it'll be sneaky because it's the Seahawks. Everyone's going to be doing it, but you just stack this game entirely. You get a little Jimmy G, you put him with Ayuk, you throw your Seattle wide receivers in there. We're expecting a bit of a gong show game in there. I'm going to throw my favorite outright pick on this in a moment, but until then, let's do tight ends. We'll call that a bit of a tease. And I have a prop, actually, that I'm throwing in this video this week. Even though I don't have a line yet, it could be my favorite bet of the NFL year. So don't go anywhere and hit the like button. Tight ends, Irv Smith Jr., guys. $3,000 on DK, $4,500 on DraftKings. Smith is coming off a 5-target game. Back-to-back 5-target games, and he looks to be in a game where the Vikings will, if they're not trailing, they're certainly going to have to keep pace with the Green Bay Packers. So look for increased dropbacks from that Viking offense this week. You can really just hope to find the end zone once, even if it is in garbage time. Tight end has been a bit of a gong show this year, so this is a downplay option. You can spend your better values elsewhere. As we mentioned, the Cook injury, we still have faith in Madison, but yeah, feels like one of those games where you get a little Play action at the goal line. Irv Smith, little leak out. Wide open. Touchdown. Irv Smith. That's what we need. That's what we're talking about. Harrison Bryant, 3,200 on DK, 5,000 on DraftKings. I believe the rookie Harrison Bryant. Austin Hooper had to have emergency surgery for appendicitis, missed the last game against the Bengals, and Bryant took full advantage. 5 targets, 2 touchdowns, looked great in the matchup. The Browns were extremely high on this Mackey winner, which goes to the nation's top tight end in college. Not just, in the limited training camp and in the limited early season action. They seem to like him. There's a rapport with Baker Mayfield. We've already broken down how we expect a shootout in Raiders-Browns. So let's get this pay-down tight end option who could come off for us. Not to mention, as we've already discussed, Baker is going to spread the ball around. He doesn't need to force it anywhere. Plenty of opportunities for Harrison Bryant this week. We like Bryant. We like Hunt. We like a lot of places in that game for our lineup. I am 6-1 with my super lock this week this year in the NFL. So I'll brag because, give me another couple and we'll be dormy on those. I do the Pick Show Pat Mayo experience each week. And we're required at the end, we give our absolute favorite game of the week. Better to be lucky than good, 6-1. So I figure now that I'm going to share it with you, we're certainly going to be 6-2. But I have used the OddsChecker grid to identify the Buffalo Bills price of -108 at Bet America, -4. My opinion, guys, I'm not overrating the Bills not covering versus the Jets last week. By certain metrics, they could have scored in the 40s if they didn't kick so many field goals. Based on the yards, based on the field position, a couple of those field goals become touchdowns. That game is out of hand. They played a short week versus the Chiefs on Monday Night Football, and they were in a look-ahead spot because they have their biggest game, their arch nemesis. They are ready to take the next step, I believe, despite a little run of games versus the Titans and the Chiefs. This is their chance. They're better than the Patriots. They're better set up to beat the Patriots. I like the Bills -4, guys, and I will even recommend to go as far to say Bills alternate line -7 +150 over at PointsBet. I think the Bills win this game by double digits. As we get closer to the weekend, I could even be looking for a 9.5. I think the Bills make a statement in this football game on Sunday. I think you can't really call it a passing of the torch, but they take that huge step in the first step of a passing of the torch within the division that is the American Football Conference Eastern Division. There's that. One more, a little happier. I don't know why I got so dramatic in that description. Le'Veon Bell, anytime touchdown. I don't care what the price is. If they give me plus money, I will crush it. The Chiefs team total is in the 30s. They're going to have 6, 7, 8 first and goals in this game. The score, the option of the win will be so far gone, they could be in garbage time in the second quarter, potentially. Andy Reid is a player's coach. He knows what's absolutely up. He knows what's up. He knows how it works. There's not a chance they don't feed Le'Veon Bell for a goal. There's not a chance they don't take one of their goal line opportunities and completely dedicate it to Le'Veon Bell. That's how the league works, friends. That's just how it is. I hate Melvin Gordon. I wouldn't feel nearly as strong about it, but if you wanted to play Melvin Gordon anytime touchdown 2, go for that. It would probably pay a lot more, and I'm not going to guarantee it, and I certainly hope it doesn't happen. I'd rather bet Melvin Gordon goal line fumble than anytime touchdown, but under sort of the same premise, except incredibly different in the fact the Broncos struggle to score touchdowns. They're not going to have 7 first and goals like the Chiefs. When they get there, they have to do all they can to do it, to score, just how it would work for the team. But if the game is out of hand, I promise you they're going to get Melvin Gordon the ball at the goal line. It's how the league works. You've got to be you've got to hate your player to not do that. There's no way Andy Reid will let that happen. I can't really speak for Denver, but I'd rather the line on the anytime goal line fumble. for Melvin instead. So that was that, and we're just going to close with defense. 49ers, 2,700 on DraftKings, 4,000 on FanDuel. Last week we were on the Cardinals. Even in a tough matchup against Seattle. They came through with some sacks, 3 ints, and almost a pick six if DK Metcalf wasn't a superhero. This week they're going back to the well with the 49ers against the Seahawks. The 49ers have the 6th highest pressure rate. Sacks, turnovers, they'll pay off for the price point. 2,700 for the 49ers this week on DraftKings. 4,000 on FanDuel. I'm Geoff Fienberg. This has been another video for me for OddsChecker. Hit like, hit sub, we smash the like button, we sub, and we leave a comment. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like, and we'll be back next week breaking down the Houston Open, more National Football League, and a little birdie says I might help you get ready for the Masters. I'm Geoff Fienberg. I'm out.